What's happening? Brother Brian's in the house with little Daisy. You can't see her, but she's down there being all sweet. She's glad to see Daddy's home from work. Got my sogie going. Hope everybody's doing well today. We'll just do a quick little video here. Try to do a video about stereo equipment. That way nobody's feelings get hurt. Cheers. But check this out. I'm going to show you something. If I was a youngster, maybe in college, coming in out of college, or you're trying to find something that you'll really enjoy, something that'll bring all your music together and you'll be pleased with. Because you know what sucks is when you go buy something, especially if you spend way too much money on it, and then all of a sudden you don't, you're not really in love with the thing. You know what I'm saying? It's just you're not in love with the thing. The thing, a lot of times, when you take something, you do like a restoration, or you add your own flavor to it. Maybe you add tubes to it or something. And it just becomes who you are. It's just, or it's like maybe it's one of your first really decent amps. That you really enjoy. My first tube amp was a Dynaco SCA 35, and one day it just stopped working, and I loved the way it sounded. It didn't have a sound for everybody, but I loved the way that it sounded. It was just, to me, it was magical. And I sold it years ago. On eBay, and it didn't even work. I think it had some really good tubes in it. I wasn't sure what the tubes were, but I think it had some really good tubes in it. And I really made a mistake selling it. I should never have sold it. I should have got it repaired, because I've always regretted getting rid of it. And it was my first really nice. It wasn't, Dynaco doesn't make the prettiest stuff, but I really loved the way it sounded. You hear her? She just sniffed my cigar and sneezed. You believe this shit? What are you doing? You sneezing, huh? Well, Lord. Alright, let me show you something here. Now, I bought this thing. I bought this thing a few years ago. This guy down the road, he got hard up for some money. So Brother Brian came to bail him out. And I spent $200 for this thing. Okay, $200. And now, take into consideration, I like the way that it looks. Okay, so before you start kicking my ass, I like the way that it looks. Oh, it's heavy. Check this out. It's an old Maggie. They call these Maggies. Nice, and it's been rebuilt. Okay, it's all been rebuilt. It's all point-to-point wiring. And this thing is nice. I love it. This thing sounds so nice. And I put these on there. These come off. These are just cheap little banana plug adapters. They go on there. They just screw on, so you can stick your banana plug speaker wires in there. And you can polish these up and make them look pretty if you want. But I like the wood, and I like the originality of it. Now this is the standalone. It's got the volume right here. It's set up as like an auxiliary, so you can hook a CD player up it, or you can run a phono preamp into it. Okay, but these are really cool. These things, they're all over the place. Okay, you can find these things everywhere. They're everywhere. And they've got this one here. It's a 9304-20. It's got a little power button here, and then you plug your CD player or your phono preamp into here. And then it comes out of the speakers. It's real simple. No bass, no treble or nothing, but it sounds nice. You could do a lot of tube rolling with these. I bought it. The guy had it. It had just been. He just had it all rebuilt and everything. I paid $200 for it. I was like, fucking A. And I got it home, and the thing's quiet as a mouse. It makes no noise. When you turn it on, you can't even tell it's on. I mean, you hit that switch, it makes no noise, no pops, clicks, hums, buzzes, nothing. It's just dead quiet. So, I got these tubes in there. I don't know what these are. I think these are what came in it. And I'm telling you, be careful with your tube or your tubes. If you touch them like my dumb ass, you end up wearing everything off of it. It's like powder. Whatever's on these, it's on there with powder. Like this, you gotta be careful. See, like here's another one. See how it's got. This is an Electro Harmonics tube, but I didn't rub that off. But you can't just clean them or anything. You gotta be real careful if you want to keep it on there. But you could buy a bunch of tubes for them to get a different sound, you know. Instead of having the bass and the treble, you do what they call tube rolling, which you guys know what that is. You know, I'm just saying it's fun. You know, it's fun. That's what's fun about this kind of setup. And you can spend a lot of money on tubes. I wouldn't recommend going out spending tons of money at first, but you can get one of these and enjoy it. You know, later on down the road, if you get some money and you want to upgrade, go out and buy $1,000 set of tubes and put in your Maggie, and it's going to sound fantastic. Now, I did spend some money here on some vintage RCA, really nice sounding tubes for my Maggie, and I usually run this. I got a little Project DS tube box. This ain't the best little preamp, but it's a really nice preamp. It's got all kinds of different settings for it, where you can run all kinds of different cartridges with this. It's got your tubes where you can do some tube rolling on your phono stage. Got a little adjustment here on the front for your different types of cartridges. It's a nice little preamp. For the money, this is a really nice preamp. The thing's solid. Now they got these little tube shields and shit. Because I do the tube rolling, I just took them off. But yeah, it's not a bad looking little deal. It's small. But you plug your turntable into this and then run this into your Maggie. Man, you got a nice little setup. Then get, you know, if you got you a nice, I hooked that up to my, it's like 10 watts, okay? It's like 10 to 15 watts. It's not a very powerful amp. But I hooked it up to my JBLs before, my L100s, and it sounded fantastic. And it brought the bass up, and it actually had a really nice balance to it. You know, it didn't shake the windows or anything, but it was a nice sound. It filled the room. If you don't have like a big, massive room, you really don't need a big, massive amp, in my personal opinion. And you can find those Maggies, okay? Now, they make all kinds of different styles. And they also, Motorola makes some, Zenith makes some. If you want to get real crazy, you can look for some Western Electrics, man. If you want to spend a little cash and get you a nice little standalone like that. But I tell you, the one that a lot of people like is the Magnavox monoblocks. They make these big Magnavox monoblocks. And I was looking today on eBay, and there were some on there for like $150 each. Okay, now these are a lot bigger than these. Okay, I mean, I don't know, 30 or 50 watts per speaker. And you're gonna have them rebuilt and all that fun stuff. But you know what? If you do these things to these, I mean, these amps will last you forever, and they sound fantastic. People love them. Especially if you get somebody that knows how to rebuild them properly, you cannot go wrong. And you'll get your money back out of something. You know, you go out and spend the money on something like this. Like my $200, I could get that $200 back tomorrow. Okay, so it's like, you know, you worry about, you know, you always get your money back. So if you want to, like later on down the road, you want to do an upgrade, just turn around, and if you want to sell your stuff, turn around and sell it. You'll get your money back out of it, even though it may cost a little money to get it going. So, really enjoy my Maggie amp. A lot of fun with those things. They're made like a tank, man. They are made like a tank, and the sound is wonderful. So, for you guys that are coming up and you want to get into tube gear, there's a nice option for you, you know. So, you don't want to go out and spend $2,000 on a nice shit system, you know. And I like shit, but it's going to be a lot more expensive than that, you know, a lot more expensive. So, there's just an option for you. Y'all be good. That's all I got for you tonight. Later on, motherfuckers.